I wasn't supposed to survive that hunt. I keep telling myself that, like if I repeat it enough, it might explain why it still knows where I live. Because something followed me out of those woods. And the worst part? It didn't just follow me. It remembered me. I've been hunting since I was 12 years old. My dad used to say the woods either make you honest, or they break you. Back then, I thought he meant discipline, patience, survival. Now I know he meant something else. Something far worse. This happened 3 years ago, deep in the backcountry of Montana. Not the tourist spots, no marked trails, no cell service, no one for miles. Just thick pine forest, steep ridges, and silence so heavy it presses against your ears. I went out there alone. That was my first mistake. I set up camp near a dried riverbed just before sunset. Everything felt normal. Cold air, distant animal calls, the crunch of leaves under my boots. The kind of quiet that hunters like me live for. But sometime after dark, I noticed something strange. There were no insects, no crickets, no owls, nothing, just silence. At first, I thought maybe the temperature dropped too fast. But I've been in colder places. Nature doesn't just shut off. Then I heard it. A single footstep. Behind me, I froze. I grabbed my rifle and turned quickly, scanning the darkness beyond my campfire. Nothing, just trees. Probably a deer, I muttered. But deep down, I knew how deer move. This wasn't that. Morning came with a strange sense of relief, like waking up from a bad dream, until I saw the tracks. They circled my camp, perfectly spaced. Deep impressions in the dirt. Too deep. I crouched down to examine them, my stomach tightening. They weren't animal tracks. They looked almost human, but wrong. The toes were too long, the heel too narrow. And the stride, God, the stride. Each step was at least 6 feet apart. Whatever made those tracks was tall. Too tall. I told myself it was some kind of deformity. Maybe a bear with damaged paws. Something explainable. That's what we always do, right? We lie to ourselves until the truth forces its way in. I decided to keep hunting. I didn't drive all that way to turn back because of some weird tracks. By midday, I was about a mile from camp when I heard it. A whistle. Soft. Low. Almost like someone trying to get my attention. I stopped walking. Listened. Nothing. Then again. A whistle. From my left this time. I spun around, rifle raised. "Hello," I called out. No answer. Just that same silence pressing in from all sides. Then, clear as day, from behind me, "Hey!" My blood ran cold. That voice. It sounded exactly like mine. I didn't run. I should have, but I didn't. Instead, I turned slowly. And that's when I saw it. About 30 yards away, between the trees. First, I thought it was a person. Tall, thin, standing upright. But then it moved. Not like a human. Its arms hung too long, almost reaching its knees. Its head tilted at an unnatural angle, like it didn't quite understand how necks worked. And its face. I wish I hadn't seen its face, because it didn't have one. Not really, just stretched skin. Pale and smooth, like something unfinished. And then, it smiled. Or at least something split open where a mouth should be. And from that opening, it spoke. In my voice. "Don't run." That's when I did. I ran faster than I ever have in my life. Branches tore at my arms. Roots nearly tripped me. But I didn't stop. Behind me, I could hear it moving. Not running. Not chasing. Just walking. And yet it was keeping up. I could hear its footsteps. Slow, deliberate. Matching mine no matter how fast I went. Then it started talking again. "Wait. Come back. Please." Each word in my voice. But twisted. Like it was learning how to be me. I made it back to camp just before dark. Shaking and out of breath. I packed everything in minutes. I didn't care about the hunt anymore. I just wanted out. But the sun was already setting. And navigating those woods at night would have been suicide. So I made a decision. I'd stay one more night. Biggest mistake of my life. I kept the fire going all night. Didn't sleep. Didn't blink if I could help it. Around midnight, came back. I heard it circling again, just beyond the firelight. Step, pause, step, pause. Then, from the darkness, "Hey, it's me." My heart slammed against my chest. It sounded perfect now, exactly like me. "Don't be scared," it said. I'm not going to hurt you. I gripped my rifle tighter. Go away, I shouted. Silence. Then, go away, it repeated. Same tone, same fear. It was copying me. Around 3 a.m., it tried something new. I heard my dad's voice, clear as day. Son, help me. I nearly dropped my rifle. My dad's been dead for 5 years. Please. I'm hurt. I stepped closer to the edge of the firelight before I could stop myself. That's when I saw it again. Closer this time, just beyond the trees. His body wrong, twisted, and its face still blank. But the voice kept coming. Help me. Then suddenly, it screamed. A sound so inhuman, so raw, it felt like it tore through my skull. And then it rushed forward. The shot. I fired. Once, twice, 3 times. The thing stumbled back into the darkness, and the forest went silent again. Completely silent. I didn't wait. I grabbed my gear and ran. I didn't stop running until I hit the main road. A passing truck picked me up. The driver asked what happened. I told him I got lost. He didn't ask questions. I never went back. For weeks, I told myself it was stress, hallucinations, isolation messing with my head. But then, things started happening. Small at first. I'd hear footsteps outside my house at night. Soft, slow, familiar. Then one evening, as I was sitting in my living room, I heard it. From the hallway. Hey! My voice. Perfect. I turned slowly. The hallway was empty, but I knew it wasn't gone. Now, I moved, changed my number, tried to start over. Didn't help, because last night, I got a call from my own number. I answered, and on the other end, I heard myself breathing. Then, don't run. I haven't gone back to the woods since. But sometimes late at night, I hear footsteps outside my door. Slow, patient, waiting, like it knows. Sooner or later, I'll let it in. I've hunted deer my whole life. I know exactly what happens when you hit one clean through the chest. They run, maybe 20 yards, then they drop. That's how it's supposed to go. But this one stood there, staring at me, bleeding, and smiling. This happened last November in northern Michigan. Opening week of deer season. Cold enough that your breath hangs in the air like smoke, and every step crunches loud enough to make you feel like the whole forest can hear you. I was hunting alone, like I always do. No distractions. No talking. Just me, my rifle, and the woods. I got into my tree stand around 5:30 a.m. Still dark. Still quiet. Perfect conditions. By sunrise, I spotted movement about 80 yards out. A buck. Big one. At least 8 points. It stepped into a clearing, slow and calm, like it had no idea I was there. I lined up the shot, exhaled, pulled the trigger. The crack echoed through the trees. The deer jerked hard. I hit it. Perfect shot. I knew it, but instead of running, it just stood there. The first wrong thing. The deer turned its head, slowly, and looked right at me. That's normal, right? Animals sometimes look toward the shot. But this wasn't that. It wasn't looking in my direction. It was looking directly at me, like it knew exactly where I was. Then it took one step forward, not away, toward me. Blood was pouring from its side, but it didn't stumble, didn't weaken, didn't fall. It just kept walking. The second shot. Panicked. Shot again. This time neck. It should have dropped instantly, but it didn't. It stopped, tilted its head, and then it made a sound. Not a deer sound, not anything I've ever heard before. It sounded like laughter. Every instinct told me to leave, to climb down and get the hell out of there. But I didn't, because hunters are stubborn and stupid. I waited 10 minutes. The deer disappeared into the trees, so I climbed down to track it. Blood trail was easy to follow. Too easy. Bright red, heavy drops like it wanted me to follow, like it was leading me somewhere. The deeper I went, the quieter it got. No birds, no wind, just my footsteps. And something else. Another set of steps. Ahead of me, slow, dragging. I stopped. So did it. I walked again. It moved again, always just out of sight. The trail led me into a clearing I'd never seen before. and I've hunted that land for years. It shouldn't have been there, but it was. Wide open, too quiet. And in the center, the deer, standing, waiting. It looked wrong. Its body stretched slightly, legs too long, neck too thin, and its eyes, God, its eyes weren't black anymore. They looked a human. Vit, shiny, aware, took a step toward me, blood still pouring. But it didn't care. I raised my rifle, but my hands were shaking, and then it spoke. Why did you shoot me? I dropped the rifle. I swear to God, it spoke. Not perfectly. The words were broken, like someone learning how to talk. But it was clear. Why did you shoot me? I stumbled backward. No, no. That's not possible. Tilted its head, then smiled. Deer don't have lips like that. They don't pull back like a human smile. But this one did. Wide, too wide, stretching further than it should. Then it took another step closer, and its body shifted. Its legs bent wrong. Its back cracked, loud, like bones snapping and reforming. It stood up, on two legs, still bleeding, still smiling, now taller than me. I ran. Didn't think, didn't look back, just ran. But I could hear it behind me, heavy footsteps, closer than they should have been. Then, my own voice, behind me. Wait, I nearly fell. Come back. It sounded exactly like me. Panic, fear, same tone. Help me. I burst out of the trees and made it to my truck. Jumped in, locked the doors, started the engine, and just sat there, breathing hard. Then, I saw it, at the edge of the woods, standing, watching, back on four legs, like nothing happened. Before I drove away, spoke one more time, but this time, it didn't use my voice. It used mine from earlier, the exact way I sounded when I took the shot. Calm, focused, cold, perfect shot. I don't hunt anymore, haven't touched a rifle since. Because sometimes, when I'm alone, I hear something outside, walking, slow, heavy, and every now and then, I hear it breathing, waiting, for me, to take another shot. I locked the cabin door before I went to sleep. I always do. One door, two windows, middle of nowhere, no one around for miles. So explain this to me. Why were there wet footprints on the floor when I woke up? And why did they lead to my bed? I inherited the cabin from my uncle, deep in the Colorado mountains. No electricity, no signal, just a wood stove, a bed, and the kind of silence that makes you feel like you're being watched. He used to hunt there every winter, until one year, he just stopped going. Wouldn't talk about it. Just said, don't stay the night. Of course, I didn't listen. Everything felt normal at first. I unpacked, lit the stove, ate some canned food. Then I went to sleep. Simple, quiet, peaceful, until around 2 a.m. That's when I heard it. A knock. The knock. 3 slow knocks. On the door. I sat up, confused. No one should be out there. Not at that hour. Not in that place. Hello, I called out. No answer. Then, another knock. This time, on the window. The window. I turned slowly. The window was dark. No moonlight. No movement. But I could feel it. Something was there. Watching. Waiting. I didn't open it. I just sat there, until the knocking stopped. Morning. When I woke up, everything seemed fine, until I looked down. The floor, vosvit, and covered in footprints. Bare feet, big, too big. They started at the door, and led to my bed. The realization, I checked the door, still locked. Windows, closed. Nothing broken. No sign of forced entry, which meant, whatever came in, didn't need to open anything. Second night, I should have left. But I didn't. Same mistake. Same stubbornness. That night, I stayed awake, rifle in hand, watching the door, waiting, the sound. Around 1:47 a.m., I heard breathing, not outside, inside, behind me. The turning point, I turned slowly, nothing there, but the breathing didn't stop. It moved, from one corner to another, like something circling me, invisible. The voice, Then it spoke. Soft. Right next to my ear. Why are you in my cabin? I spun around, screaming. Fired a shot into the wall. Silence. Then, laughter. Low. Bit. Too close. The truth. I remembered what my uncle said. Don't stay the night. He wasn't warning me about the woods. He was warning me about the cabin. The last night, I didn't sleep, didn't move, just waited for daylight. But right before sunrise, spoke again. This time, from the bed, right beside me. Stay. Escape. I ran. Didn't pack. Didn't lock up. Just ran. Aftermath. A week later, I went back. With friends. During the day, everything looked normal. No footprints. No damage. Nothing. Until I checked under the bed. Under the bed, there were scratches. Deep. Long. Like something had been clawing its way up. From underneath. Ending line. I sold the cabin. Never went back. But sometimes, when I wake up in the middle of the night, I feel the bed dip slightly. Like someone just sat down beside me. And I hear it whisper. Why did you leave? Fearful face.